Yes.
Hello, everyone. This is Sumit, co founder at Labeler. Today I'm going to talk with Vineet, my friend, co founder at Tarz.
Hey,
Hi,
everyone.
Vineet. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good, good. Doing good.
Okay. Right, getting into the session, I'll start with all the questions that I have made for you. Okay.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Cool.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, Vineet, tell us more about yourself and the problem that you are solving for your
Sure.
customers with Tarz.
Sure. So, basically, my name is Vineet Agrawal. I'm one of the founders at Tarz. So, Tarz is a chatbot-based SaaS product company. We are based out of Bangalore, and we are trying to solve the problem. We're trying to solve a customer experience problem for businesses out there. So, basically, we are any company out there, any business, they have a website. That's the main way through which they communicate and they explain about their feature, about the product, about the services, and that's how they interact with the users, right? What we think is that the old way of doing things through a website and through a form through which people collect information, it's very cumbersome. It's a lot more. It adds a lot of friction to the user's experience. So what we suggest is using a chatbot, which is a much interactive way to interact, to understand about any customer, any business's product or services, and it's much more easier interface for people to ask questions and understand what the company does and give them information. So basically, we provide chatbot-based solutions for companies. We have a product which you can come and make your own chatbot, and you can publish it on your website, on your WhatsApp number, on your SMS, and basically it improves the customer experience for any business.
Understood. Understood. So, who are your customer? Is it enterprises or SMB? And how did you choose your ISP?
Got it. So since this is a basically session for early stage founders, who are just getting into marketing, so I'll just give you a bit of context about where how we got started. So when we started the product, the idea was so we were not thinking about who are customers. We wanted to just sell it to anyone, everyone who can, right? We can. So basically, one thing we were clear that this is a B2B product. We were selling to B2 other businesses. We are not selling to consumers. So that was the only thing that was we were clear about. But we were going out and trying to pitch it, trying to show it to anyone and everyone who's who has the time to who can actually see it, right? So so initially we started out with in India only, in Bangalore, in nearby the network that we knew. We showed them the product. We told them, okay, this is a no, this is what the problems. This is the solution which problem it solves. In the early days, we were framing it in a very specific way. We were saying that if you have a form on your website, especially on your mobile website, it is very bad experience, very cumbersome for people to fill out that form, and usually people procrastinate and don't fill out, and they feel that it's just a lot of work, and people usually get confused about how to actually fill it out, right? So what we said, and I think that the problem is still we are still solving the same problem. We said that instead of a form, you can use a chatbot, which is much cleaner interface. It's much more ubiquitous. People are familiar with the messenger kind of interface, especially because of WhatsApp, adoption of WhatsApp across, right? You can have the chatbot experience, and the interface will be much more familiar for people, because people are familiar with the messaging interface. And because it's automated conversation, it's not live chat, so there's no need for an extra, you need to hire people, you need to have a set of people behind for operations. So it will work pretty much like a form, which is automated system, but the interface is much better. So it kind of solves both the problem of having a good interface, and also is automated as well. So and the initial assumption was that if you use a chatbot instead of form, the conversion rate on those filling out on those forms will be or on the website will be higher. That means if 100 people are coming onto the website, if in the form, if only 3 or 4 people are filling out initially, now it will be 10 people who will be filling it out, right? And as a result, you will get more business, right? Because you're capturing more leads. So that was very simple pitch initially that we used to no, tell to the people, right? And even now, it's pretty much the same thing. But now we have there's a lot more things added, because when you have a chat interface, there's a lot more things you can do beyond just capturing the leads. You can actually ask questions, you can do FAQs, and you can also do much more advanced things, like you can actually ask against a knowledge base and a very interactive way about what the product and services are about, right? So there's a lot more things now you can do, but that was the main idea, which is improving the customer experience so that more people are able to interact with you and understand your product and services, and you get more business as a result.
Understood.
So
Understood.
basically, I think answering your question, initially we did try to do SMBs, but now we are going more towards enterprise customers in India and outside. So mostly our focus is now in US and European market, North American and European market, and enterprise. The reason that we want to go to more bigger ticket size or bigger companies is because it's an automation tool. Uh, uh, a company which is huge, which has a lot of users, they will see a lot more value compared to a smaller company because they'll have a lot of traffic, and if they automate even half of their customer questions, that's a huge value addition for them. So that is why we are going more and more up market.
Understood. Understood. So, means you mentioned that you're targeting US and European market. So till now, you are all of your customers coming from which geography?
So right now it's split between India and European, US and European market, North American and European. Earlier, we were very heavy on the Indian market, and we learned a lot of things as well in that place as well. But now we see that more and more of our customers are fitting more towards the North American market as well, and European market. So you can see it's like a 50-50 split between India and outside India.
So how many global customer you have right now?
I would say around 250 customers. These are subscription customers. Along with that, we also have a list of a huge number of AppSumo customers, like these like lifetime deal customers. So we ran this lifetime deal early in the startup journey. It's something I would love to talk about as well. It's something early stage founders can learn from it as well. It's a very good tool to have a lot of beta users for for your product, and a lot of validation about whether it's actually the product is actually getting value or not. So that number is around more than like 1,500 people who are LTD customers, but subscription customers we have around 250 customers.
Yeah, I think we can discuss in more detail about how to utilize the power of
Sure,
AppSumo for your launch, for your product
sure.
launch. But my question is that how did you find your first customer? Means from any market. What was the process? What
Right.
was the which marketing channel that you use to get that the very first customer, or maybe initial customers?
Sure. So the first customers, so my co-founder Ish, he was the one who. So basically, just to give you more context, I actually am initially I was involved in the technical and product side. So I'm actually not like the go-to marketer person. I'm just learning things, and only in the last 8-9 months that I've been completely owning the marketing role in the company. Earlier, I was pretty much focused on the product. So my co-founder Ish was the one who was taking care of sales and marketing till now, and who was owning it. I was obviously being the founder. I was able to contribute and I was able to help him a lot, but he was the one owning the numbers. So he was the one in the initial part of the journey. He was the one who reached out to people on LinkedIn primarily. LinkedIn, and in the early days, we also did a lot of email outbound, cold email as well, right? Cold email reach outs. So that was the main starting point for us. The first customer that we got is through a LinkedIn conversation itself. So the first customer we got, we actually did not make the product because that's the learning from my own previous product that we have built is that like spending so much time on product initially, it's not a good idea. Probably you want to talk to some people. Yeah, once you get an idea about, okay, this is a problem, these are the assumptions, probably write it down and actually talk to someone, talk to a potential customer who is ready to pay some money for it. Talk to them first and see if there's an interest in that or not. Because if you go and build a product, you just kind of lock yourself in, right? So initially, just to answer your question, initially we found customers on LinkedIn, and in the early stages of the company, we were primarily using email cold email reach outs as a tool for find more customers.
Okay. So initially you are more focusing on outbound campaign. So right now, what is the your 30 days marketing plan, 90-day or 180-day marketing plan? So right now, what is the best channel that works for you?
It's the same. It's the same. I'll tell you this. There's a twist in that story because early we did do a lot of email outbound marketing, and but for one reason or another, in the middle of the journey, we kind of relied too much on the inbound marketing, inbound leads coming in because we were getting a lot of inbound interest, and we did close a lot of customers as well. But for some reason, no, were not able to continue email primarily because of just not having understanding of how to actually go about and find the right people, right? There are more reasons they can but now I think it's kind of come at full circle. For the last I would say 3 months now, we have been very much focused on email marketing side, email outbound marketing, and it is the best. It is still the channel which is giving us most results right now. Even now, we have tried LinkedIn ads as well. We have tried SEO. We have tried basically channel partnership, not channel partnership, basically referral marketing, where you actually go and get your product listed in other websites which are already ranking. So we have tried several things. We have tried a bunch of things, but email marketing is still, at least for our industry, for our product, is still uh, pretty working very nicely.
Okay. So you are heavily investing your marketing goal, marketing plan around this outbound email campaign, right?
Yes, currently we are very much focused on email marketing.
Okay. So now, if we, as you mentioned, that you have some customer in US. So I
Mhm.
just wanted to understand your experience, that how is selling in US look like. So how can first time founder, means
Mhm.
means early stage founder who are like is working on their first product, they get sales conversation with some US customer. Do you have any
Right.
advice for?
So I would say definitely. I think if I have to recall, even the customer that we got in US, the first early customers was primarily through either it was email outbound or through LinkedIn connections only. Right. LinkedIn is a great channel, especially if you build a really good profile for yourself, if you really good profile for your org, for your company. You post regularly. You do do a lot of connections. Like you connect with a lot of relevant people and like-minded people, uh, and basically you build that credibility. So anybody who's if you get a request, like if you get a LinkedIn request, the first thing you would do before even accepting the request is just go to your profile and see who this person is, right? What is written in their profile, what is the picture, what is the banner, what are the activities, like you just take a quick glance, right? So if that's a really good way to build credibility and actually communicate that credibility through LinkedIn. So if you build a really good profile, and that can take some time, but if you that's a great way to connect with people. Instead of just trying to hard sell it, you can just try to you can just ask them, okay, I'm building this product. I think this you might be someone who might be relevant in this industry. So can you just give me some feedback? Can you just try it out? Would love to get on a 10-minute call. I can show you. I'm not obviously try not to do a hard sell initially, at least. I mean, you can try that thing as well. But the thing is, initially you wouldn't even know. I mean, you wouldn't even know whether whatever you built is actually how much of a value it creates. Right? So initially, you want to understand, and that's something a lot of people, if you ask for help, will be more than happy to just give you feedback or try it out, right? So I think that's and that goes for LinkedIn and that goes for emails as well. But email, no, you cannot build that credibility immediately right away. With LinkedIn or with even any kind of social media, even on Twitter, for example, you can, if you have a really good profile, if you are very active there, people there's a lot of credibility and people can respond back much more easily, right? And
Right.
you can try email as well, definitely.
Okay, understood. So means while doing your outbound campaign, content marketing is one thing that generally companies use to nourish or nurture their leads. So
Right.
how's your experience around content marketing? So you use content marketing just to get leads, some traction, some visits, or also you use that same content to nurture your outbound campaign leads as well.
Right. So content is basically just about like you are just trying to tell what you are doing, what you are working on, how it helps, how exactly it helps, right? How it has helped somebody in the past, like with the case studies, right? So content is just about communicating in a way, communicating things, what you do, right? And that is one thing, and also it can be something also which can be helpful for your target people, target customers as well, right? So the content, I think, is something that we have done correctly, we have done well from the very beginning. My co-founder Ish, he was very much heavy on creating content, producing content on a regular schedule. And the thing with content is that it gives results in a very long term. So it takes a lot of time, right? Especially if you are use. relying on SEO or Google search results, right? But the but in any case, you have to create content, you have to explain your story, you have to tell what you're doing in a easy and easy to consume way, like in a format which is easy to consume. And because I mean, you can write along. I mean, you can write. There's a lot of things you can do, but you have to keep in mind that the people who are going to read it, whether they're actually going to read it or not, right? So you have to make it easier for them to read. And once you create the content, of course, you have to, you repurpose it. You can use it in your email marketing. You can use it in your LinkedIn posts, right? You can use it. You can actually DM people as well if you think that it's relevant for them, right? So of course, so for example, we write case studies, and we actually use that as a channel, as a way to for like as a lead magnet in our ad campaigns. We use it in our email outbound marketing campaigns as well, and it's there on the website as well for SEO to crawl as well, right? For it to give us through SEO, right? So same content can be used across different channels. And the idea with creating good content is to so that you can tell your story, and you can explain what you actually do in a good way, right?
Understood. Understood. So
I think this is
yeah,
a question.
maybe there's one question if you want to take it up right away.
Sure. How much budget your content? How much was your content budget doing? Uh, for the first year, it was just us. We were so there was no budget. We didn't had. So we had one intern who was.
Actually, I have one question to add in that as an early phase startup, means founders have very limited time and resources, and how
Mhm,
they utilize this time and resources to build a
mhm.
good quality content that they can
Mhm.
utilize. So how you did all that? Was How was your
You mean
experience?
creating good quality content, like how's I think um, so. I think there has to be split between you're working on the product and you're working on the marketing, right? And working on marketing is creating content is a huge part of that, because anything you communicate, even writing an email is a piece of content, right? It's not. I mean, you're putting it out to a lot of people, right? So I would say half of the work in marketing is creating good content, right? So that is like half of the job for the one of the at least one of the founders, right? So I think that should be the focus. You should put a lot of invest a lot of time into creating good content. And good content, I mean, create content, like just create a lot of content, and good or bad that will time will tell, right? So you can just keep on creating things, and read, I think, consume a lot more, so that you get some kind of benchmark. Okay, what is good content, like how other people are doing it, looking at like other successful SaaS startups, SaaS products, looking at their YouTube channel, looking at their blog posts, so that way you can get a like a benchmark of what is the high quality content. And then you can use that as a reference. Okay, at least my content should be at least like that, right? If
Understood.
not better. So and
So
definitely in terms of time commitment, you should it should be one of the important focus for at least one of the founders in the company.
okay, so there's another question that how did
Yeah.
you get one intern and what job that intern did for
Yes.
you?
So one of our first hire or first intern, his name is Arnav. So he has been with us for a long time. He's been with the company for a long time, and he was the one who actually helped us in the content early on. I think he's actually Bangalore based only. And so just answering to the first question that you had, okay, what is the budget and all, right? So there was no specific budget. There was we did paid him as a paid internship, but that was pretty much it. So there was nothing else. It was, I think he was using his own laptop as well, so we didn't provide any of those things. And he helped us writing initial blog posts. We actually posting on Medium back then, and he has created newsletter series for us, which got many popular for us as well. And a lot of people in our mailing list, even though they were not direct buyers, but they enjoyed the content on that. And we're kind of going a bit crazy in terms of what we were writing in those e-newsletters. So so that was a good way to just catch people's attention about what we were doing, what we were trying to do. So that was one learning, that not every marketing is very calculated. I mean, you can just do things just to communicate about your culture, your and your product, and what you're trying to achieve. And some people will just just listen in, and they will, at least if not they are buying your product directly, they will at least cheering for you, right? So yeah, so that's, I think, just answering to that question of budget. We did a very shoestring budget, very small budget, and we were pretty much doing things ourselves.
Understood. So, means you said that quality is very subjective, but what is the healthy quantity wise? How many content in a month or in a week you advise people
Um,
to generate?
I mean, I think it could be should be as much as possible, as much as possible that you can, keeping the quality standard high and good enough, right? Um, I mean, if you can create one blog post every day, there's nothing like that, right? If you can create 10, even better. If you can create 100, even better, right? So, but you have to think about ki how will that happen without degrading the quality. So, for example, right now, one interesting thing that we are doing right now is we are using a tool. I mean, you must have heard of like AI generated content tool. Lately, there's
Right.
a lot of tools like that, right? There's SEO Surfer SEO, sorry, and there's Praise.io. There's a lot of good tools which help you create content through means of AI. So it actually generates content based on the keyword that you put in, and it gives you SERP. There's a bunch of things. It gives you SERP results, and then you can compare. It gives you content score for a particular keyword, how things are, uh, how well this content is created, right? So now we are using this tool, and these are much more SEO optimized content. And now we are trying to do like multiple pages in a day, like so that's so depending on technology and depending on what means you have, how many people you have in the team, you can scale it. So if you are just working alone, uh, I mean, just 5 years back, I mean, you would probably write one or two articles in a day. I mean, that's like the maximum limit that you can do at good quality. But with the tools, the current tools that we're coming in, maybe you can do more, right? You can. I've seen like if you go out on YouTube, people have actually written really good content through these AI generated tools, and they're getting a really good ranking, and they're spending like I don't know half 1 or 2 hours on basically creating content and editing it, right? So so there is no, I would not say, no, I would not put a limit to it ki how much because the tools that is coming in now, it's like it's like there's no upper limit to it, right? So you can actually go ahead and try out different things as well. But a good would be at least start. I think good thing would be important thing would be to start with at least one article in a week. I think that would be a good place to start.
Okay, understood. So you mentioned previously that you utilize or in your outbound campaign your LinkedIn profile. So how a founder should utilize their LinkedIn profile effectively?
So I think one very easy thing that anyone can do is just find relevant people. Relevant means it's a huge bucket. It could be your customers, it could be your potential partners, it could be people who might be interested, other SaaS founders, let's say, right? Find relevant people on LinkedIn and just send connection request to them. They just send a connection request and maybe send a note as well. Maybe 10 requests, 20 requests, 30 requests every day, right? And set aside half an hour, 45 minutes every day, put it on a calendar and just send out these requests, connection requests. That itself, just because if you're working in a founder, if you have, I think the first step on that would be just create a good bio, like good profile for yourself, put a good picture, write about your what you do, and spell it all the information, so that anyone comes on your profile, they don't see key, okay, it's not an empty profile, right? So that's the first thing, and then you go in and find these connections, you connect with a lot of people, and you build a network. Because if you're sending out connection requests, most people do accept connection requests, especially on LinkedIn, right? Once you do that, I mean, along with that, you should keep on like you should be more active on LinkedIn. So if you have, let's say, 200 connections in your profile, and you're actually posting, at least 20 of them will see, right? And they might be customers, they might be partners, potential partners, they might be somebody else, but at least they will react to it. They will get to know about what you do, and they might be able to help, or they might be able to be interested into buying your product or services, right? Whatever. So very simple thing you can do is just send connection requests on a daily basis. Let's say 20 connections or 10 connections every day, and do regular posts. Let's say one or two posts every day, right? And it could be as simple as just whatever you learned or whatever you did on that day, right? So I can talk more about okay, what things that we are trying recently about things, which is around okay, we're trying to log things about what we do on LinkedIn and on Twitter as well. But yeah, that's a very simple thing we can start.
Okay. So there's this question that how do you measure your marketing success?
Very very simple way to measure is just to see the how much pipeline you are able to generate, how much sales pipeline your marketing effort is able to generate, and for that you need to do good job in attribution. attributing where the leads are coming from. So if you have, let's say, three channels that you're working with, let's say SEO, email marketing, and ads, let's say LinkedIn ads, right? So you should know if any lead coming in, you should try to improve your systems in a way you can attribute every single lead that's coming in to, okay, where which channel it came from, and then look at those leads and see how many of those leads actually turned into an opportunity in the sales pipeline, and how many of them actually converted into a customer, basically, right? And then with that analysis, you can very easily see okay, which channel is working well, and in what timeline it has worked well, and you can even understand okay, maybe the ads is works in particular time or something, for whatever, for particular region it works well, for other region it doesn't work well, and based on that you can take decisions ki, okay, where else you can invest your time going forward, right? So just that's a very straightforward way to this is a tangible part that you can measure about marketing, which is just pure numbers. The other parts, which is the intangible part, which is the brand and recognizability and all those things, uh, that's very difficult to measure, and that's mostly, I think, will be it will be mostly about just doing things which communicates what you do, what the company stands for, and what the company culture is about, and what the people are about. And you can, there might be some metric. I'm not I'm not, to be honest, looked into it. There might be some metric about, okay, what is the social media activity and all the impressions and all those things. But I think that's also very important. It's just being visible about what you do, because that over the longer term it will give you some ROI as well.
Right, right. So the next problem that we face is that how to hire marketing people. So how you decide that it is the right time to hire more people in the marketing, and what kind of skill set that you look to hire in your marketing team?
Sure. So I think this is primarily for the early stage founders now looking to hire marketers in the early phases of the journey. I would say the best people to hire is just people who are journalists, like who can do and who can learn things much more rapidly, and um, who can figure out things on the fly, right? Sumit, you're still connected?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I think just might be connected. Just to expand on that answer. Uh, Basically, what you want to look for is people who can learn things rapidly, who can try out several multiple things, and basically communicate well, even communicate well in terms of verbally and written communication, all both of those things, and who are just who are in that startup mindset, who are ready for the working hard for the long hours. There's a lot of things you have to try out, and any specific skill. If let's say, if I hire a performance marketer who has done performance marketing for their whole life, right, and we try doing that thing and it doesn't work for us, for example, for whatever reason, right, then we cannot, that person cannot contribute. It will be very difficult for him to contribute in some other way. So better to hire people who can take care of, can do a bunch of other things, right? You can learn things quickly, and try out new things, because we have to, initially in marketing, you have to learn, you have to try and then see what works.
Okay, so it's a
I think there's a
similar
question.
kind of question
Sumit, can
that
you
how you screen,
slowly? Yeah,
yeah, how
yeah.
you screen candidates.
Screen candidates. Okay, so this is something not specific to marketing, but this is, I think, three things that I look for very in that order. First is, for any candidate, the most important thing is communication. Whether they are able to speak clearly with the clarity of mind, and also they can write as well or not. But definitely, when we are talking, communicating, whether they can explain whatever ideas that they have in their mind, they can articulate it well or not. Because if that is not there, it's like counterproductive. Because if I tell something for them to do and they did not understand it, or they understood it, but they understand something else, it will be very counterproductive. So that's the most important thing, which is communication and clarity of thought, right? Second is just work ethics, and being able to work hard and long hours, especially in the early phases of their journey, right? So that is second thing, because anything that everything takes time and everything requires a lot of experimentation. That's the second thing. And third important thing is just having a learning mindset. So I mean, these are three things, three traits I look for. If you go into it, everybody, different people have different ways to see whether a candidate has those things or not. Communication is very simple. You just have a call with them. It's very very easily. The part about working hard, you can look into their past experience and their past journey and see is there a place where they have pushed beyond what they were expected from them, right? And the learning thing also, you can actually learn, see what other things that they have done apart from what they're supposed to do. Have they tried new things? Have they initiated any new project in their past companies or past internships or something like that, right? So these three things, like, it's a bit of a generic, I know it's a bit of a generic thing, but when you're early stage, you want journalist people only because you have to figure out your way. You have to figure out what needs to be done. You cannot. The very specific roles will come at a very later stage when you have already have the processes in place. So in the early phases of the company, you want people who are easy to adapt and ready to learn things much more quickly.
Right, right. So I mean, so I think you've been running this company for last 6 years. There will lots of ups and
Yes.
downs, I'm sure. So
Yes.
if you have to
Yes.
restart Tarz again, what are the things
Yes.
that you want to implement first? What are the learning that you
Sure.
utilize this round?
Sure. I think in terms of marketing, I would say not to leave email marketing or email outbound. Just continue doing that thing and think of doing it in scale in a better way. Get better in writing email copies. Learn from that. So that thing, that's one thing I would change and we would do differently. Second, probably. I mean, right now, no, we started like producing videos for all of our, like, most of our content. Like, we're trying to get to a place where we can create videos for all the content that we write. So that is maybe some, like, few years back, it will be more difficult to get people, but now it's much more. It's more easier. So creating more videos because people don't read things. I mean, even I don't. I don't feel like reading a lot. So if you can, whatever you have written, if you can turn that into a video, like a few minutes of video, people are much more likely to consume it, and they can understand. It's pretty much there's the same thing, right? And it's much more efficient way to communicate things, right? So uh, that is second key. If I mean, you would go for making videos much more early on. That's the second. You asked three things or more. Third one as well.
Any three
Uh,
things? Not, but I means you
hmm,
mentioned one thing very interesting, that convert your written content into a video.
hmm.
So how to
Yes.
do that?
The way we have done is, so there's something I've recently like did a Twitter thread as well about that. We've hired a motion graphic designer who's like amazing. His name is Saurabh, and he's been working with. So he has skills in Adobe After Effects, and he's basically an animator, right? So we built a process where we have written content, written piece of content, and we just give it to him, and he goes through that. He converts that into a video script, and he makes a storyline, and he creates these videos pretty much in using Adobe After Effects, right? And it's pretty interactive. If you want, I can share that in the notes as well later on. I mean, or you can just go to our YouTube channel, Tarz, TARS, and you can find the recent videos you'll find there. So I mean, the easy solution, the quick answer is just hire a motion graphic designer. This is a term I didn't even know. I was initially thinking of some video maker or some, I was posting in that way, but the actual term is motion graphics designer or animator, and so hire that person, and I think you can get good folks there. A lot of young people are actually actually into this profession, into this
Right.
actually this domain, and I think you'll find people. I think you'll find good people working in that place.
Understood. Understood. Yeah, I will definitely watch out for these kind of
Yeah.
expertise
If you want
in my.
to, if you want to understand the exact breakdown of hiring for this role, I've actually written a recently Twitter thread on that, explaining that very details. So you can actually look into my Twitter profile, and you can just search for my name, Vineet Agarwal, and you'll find that as well. If you want more details on that.
Sure, sure. So I'll advise everyone who is watching, uh, follow Vineet on Twitter and get
Sure.
aware of all the content that he is writing. Okay, so Vineet,
Yes.
thank you for your time. And now I open this floor for any question. If we have anyone posted, I think uh,
There's a lot of
all the
comments.
question is already been covered, I guess.
I think Ablash Roma team was posted our newsletter link.
Yeah.
If you guys are interested in looking, and in the past one or the new ones, feel free to join the newsletter. Thanks. I think
Okay.
Rasmus
I
has
think I
asked if it will be recorded. This is the video is recorded. I think it will be posted later, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that will be
It will be
available.
there.
Is there any other question?
I think we have covered everything. Okay, so Vineet, thank you for all these insights. I hope whoever watches this, they will get some kind of nuggets of information that they can easily apply in their businesses. I will definitely start to using some of them. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Thanks a lot.
Take care.